There is a powerful call from REM students to be heard, to have their voices not only acknowledged, but amplified. In this documentary, I aim to provide just that platform, to explore these challenges, share their stories, and spark meaningful change. So this is not just a varsity campaign. This is #TellYourStory.
My name's Hussain, and this is my story. I play lacrosse at the moment. Any sports I wish I could participate in. Basketball, but I'm too short. I like the intensity of sports. That's why I like lacrosse so much. It's very physically demanding. And I like feeling like a fitter person and a stronger person. And I feel like lacrosse has done that for me. You know, just looking on their Instagram and stuff and like seeing them around campus, they really felt like a proper sports team. You know, like you'll see people in like stash and like the merchandise they wear, and it's so uniform, and like seeing like their games and stuff, how they're all in that matching kit, the helmets and everything, how like hyped up it looks as well. Because the sports I did it like before I joined lacrosse, like kickboxing, softball, baseball, like it didn't have that hype. Like I understand some people might just want to, you know, make friends and play a few games, like join bucks, but like I wanted to win things, and I wanted to be a part of a team that had that winning mentality, and lacrosse definitely has that. It's a hard one, because obviously when you join a team, it's so much more welcoming when there's other people your colour there. And yeah, growing up, like it wasn't many. Every sports team that I've joined, it's almost rare to see someone of a South Asian background join a sport, especially like the high intensity sports like football, rugby, lacrosse, especially. Like, yeah, it's very rare. It isn't something I thought of like right at the start, but it's something you end up noticing for sure. It's difficult. I think I do feel accepted, like within the lacrosse society. It's almost a case of like skin color is completely ignored. Like it's not a factor. You get onto the team if you get on well with like everyone else, and if you're a good athlete, and if you work hard. Like that is what people value you off. Like it's nothing to do with the way you look, like the way you dress, your sexuality, anything like that. However, you know, it's driven off banter and, you know, making fun of people, and often, especially if you're someone of minority, ethnic minority, those lines can almost be blurred, because, you know, there's such a fine line between, you know, making fun of someone and making fun of each other and then going a step too far. And I can't think of a year in my life where that hasn't happened, because it's so normalized. You know, people think they can make fun of anything, and, you know, it's all okay because it's just banter. But you know, you never really know how someone's feeling. And what I feel like should be aired with ethnic minority is a lot of those jokes are coming from white people. You know, they don't understand what it was like growing up and having to hear, you know, all the jokes. And sometimes not jokes, some of it is just malice. Like some people fully dislike you for your skin color. And, you know, hearing those jokes at the age of 23 is you know, it is ridiculous, and it does take you back to like how you felt like as a child. Yeah, I think more growing up, like in school and stuff, than at university. Yeah, you know, I went to, you know, an all-boys grammar school, so those jokes were still going around then, more so than if I was like in a mixed school. But yeah, you get picked last for teams. People would make little jokes. They'd make nicknames. I had a horrible one in school. And again, it was a case of like, now I can call people out on their Back then, I just let that nickname stick and everyone called me it. And looking back, that was horrid. And it's just a case of you would hear it so much more while playing sport. Because obviously, like when you're calling for a pass, or if you're open, or if someone wants the ball, they're gonna call your name. But they weren't calling my name, they were calling me that nickname. At university though, it was almost a case of like, I came here and I was like, I've grown up. I'm assuming everyone else has grown up. Like, I don't see people for their skin color. I assume people won't see me for my skin color. So it was more of an internal thing than trusting other people not to judge me. It was more of like, I'm just gonna go in and be myself. If someone doesn't like me for anything, or even if it is my skin color, you know, I'll be honest, I've seen very few of my background in like committee positions. I think knowing myself, I would get so much comfort from like joining a society and there being like brown people on the committee, especially a sports society where there's honestly not that many of us. Like I can only think of a few, and there's hundreds of sports societies like on campus, and maybe there'll be a little brown fresher who joins next year who will see me and want to join lacrosse. It's part of being a good human, I think. You know, if a lot of REM people feel like they can't defend themselves because growing up they couldn't, you know, it wasn't just one person calling them names. It was a lot of people, and you know, I feel like if we're still seeing that at like our age, it's not good at any age. But now we're all adults. I feel like as adults, seeing racism, it carries a lot more malice than if you said that when you were, you know, like 5 years old or 7 years old. That's just something you learned from your parents probably. But we should be supporting one another and calling people out on their like regardless of, you know, whether you're REM or not. You should be calling out people on their, especially in a sports society. If you see that happen to your teammates, you should be calling it out. You shouldn't laugh along with it, because that makes you as much of a problem as the person who said it. You stepping forward and saying something is the first step to getting everyone around you to say something. One example I love to use is when people found out Starbucks was on the boycott list, it probably started with one person, and then everyone realized it. They lost $1 billion like in the first quarter of this year. Like that's an insane amount. So that just shows like what we can do as a race if we all stand together, and that's why allyship is so important. Like it creates a wave. If one person says something, it will create ripples, and you know, that's how things get normalized. We need to normalize calling people out on their shit. Yeah, that's a big one for me. I've always struggled with like my mental health and stuff, and I feel like sport has been the perfect release for me. You know, you get so much dopamine and like serotonin from just like doing physical exercise anyway. It's what got me into running as well. I would say it saved my life. Like playing sports is my safe place. My brain shuts off and I'm just there. I'm on the pitch and I just think about what's around me, and all the problems just like go away for the 2 hours I train or the 3 hours we travel up to a match and play. You know, I struggle with body image as well, and obviously like having that addiction to playing sports because I knew it made me feel better has obviously helped my body image, because like I've become fitter, like, you know, it's given me like a safe space and a place to breathe and shut off. If you look at the sort of courses REM people enroll in, it's STEM, it's computer science, it's engineering, like they're very heavy. And growing up, a lot of REM people are told academics, academics, academics. Like that is all that matters in life. You know, you go to school, you do well, you go to university, you get your degree, you get a job, and there you go, you're set for life. Yeah, I think there needs to be something specific for REM people that encourage them and convince them and help them believe that they can get to a Bucks team and the first team and eventually committee, and they can play varsity. I also think that in addition to the Access Fund that's available for all students, there should be something additional for REM. REM people, a lot of their families are immigrants. You know, they won't have the highest paying jobs, I can say that for sure. And that does come with financial hardships that non-immigrants and, you know, British citizens, they will still have those hardships, but maybe not as much as REM people. You know, their families spend so much and sacrifice so much to come to this country and afford for their like children to go to university, and university is expensive, and especially for internationals, you know, they don't get as much student loan as British like citizens. So I do think there should be something additional for REM students in particular.
Thank you so much for watching this mini documentary, but this is not the end of the conversation. The conversation is just beginning. Keep your eyes peeled for the next #TellYourStory.